This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
If you commit to something, do it. If you don't want to do it, say no. But if you say yeah and you committed to something, you got to do it. Stick it out. Do it.
And co-host Marnie Winfield.
My rent is paid. I have a roof over my head. I'm married to the most amazing man in the world who cares about me and supports me, keeps me safe, and I don't know. I got it all.
Damn. Brag much?
I like it.
It is the 21st of December, 2021. I'm Corey Winfield.
I'm Marnie Winfield.
This is the 217 Recovery Podcast. Welcome. Yeah, new open tonight. We're going to surprise you with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe I pieced that together.
I think you did.
But no, that was from, I think it was episode before 2021. So it was like the very end of the year, 2020. And we were kind of recapping 2020. And you were talking about what a great year it's been for most people. A lot of people, not most people. A lot of people, 2020 was pretty rough. Mm-hmm. 2021 for you and I think was a little bit rougher, especially this last quarter.
Yeah.
Ugh. I'm ready for 2022 big time.
Yeah, I remember that podcast now. And it was reflecting on, because everyone was like, 2020, like, don't look back at it. It was a terrible year. It was a terrible year. And I was like, wasn't that so bad?
Yeah, a lot of people were saying, oh, it was, a lot of TV people and radio people even were saying that. But yeah, for us, it was a really good year, 2020. And then 2021, it started off all right. Hit some bumps there, but the health issue with your back and me every different way and the COVID, just pray 2022 will be better, I guess.
Yeah, always better.
Yeah, the new variant, which has like 50 variants or 500, it was insane. I heard it this morning when I was eating cereal.
That sounds like a Transformers name.
Oh my God. Yeah, but then that in itself has 80 million different types and
Omicron.
Mm-hmm. No, I was thinking today, because you and I can remember when we used to jump in the back seat and Grandpa used to take us down the road. And I was never riding backwards in a car seat. Some of the younger generation, they're like, you never had to ride backwards in a car seat. No, car seat. What's that? Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I think we're going now, where you and I remember no internet growing up, no internet, trying to get your own phone in your bedroom or whatever you did. But yeah, now the kids nowadays, I call them, they're actually adults. They had the internet their whole life. Mm-hmm. And now I think this next generation will grow up with, you guys didn't have to wear masks.
Right.
It's just going to get worse.
Yeah.
Jesus, I know you're coming. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just crazy. And I'm sure 100 years ago, they're like, what? You don't have a horse? Wait, no, I don't. I have a car.
Yeah. And it's like what used to be an inconvenience became so regular that even now I sometimes feel awkward if I'm like going into store, like, did I bring my mask? It's like, oh yeah, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear it yet.
And now they're saying, well, what's fully vaccinated?
Yeah. What is that? Does that mean the booster too?
The booster? Well, my ass went and got the booster last week and I was lucky because I think someone just canceled. Mm-hmm. Thanks. Because I looked at Walgreens on the app and it didn't have anything to like first week of 2022. And I'm like, damn it. And I just heard them on the news talking about how it's just going to go insane before that. And I'm like, man, I really could use a little something. And 5 minutes later, I check again, bloop, tomorrow. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll schedule that right now. Mm-hmm. Why not? A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to. Whatever, man. And that's your preference. But I had COVID. And the COVID, it sucked. It was weird. I wasn't a fan. But then I got sicker after COVID. And I think that's the part that scared me the most, is they don't really know what it's doing to your body.
Right.
And you and I had a conversation earlier where I told you that I think that COVID actually, because my gallbladder, okay, I had issues with it probably in the past, but a doctor told me that, yeah, you can have gallstones. That's fine. Most people do, is what that doctor told me. He said, but it's when they become too big and they block stuff, that's when it becomes a problem. But he was like, this was back in Arkansas in 2015. And he's like, but yours aren't, and you're good. You don't need to have your gallbladder removed. You just have acute pancreatitis. Pancreatitis, stop eating all that, fatty foods and stuff. And his stuff made sense because I, like I said, just pigged out a night or two before. And I hit every single dessert because I was like, why not? I was single. I had money and I would take myself out to eat, and I would start enjoying life. And I was trying to figure out who I was and what I liked. And I like desserts. So it was a really bad decision. So I thought, okay, what this doctor is saying makes sense. So, okay. So yeah. All right. But this other doctor was like, no, man, your gallbladder was kaput. Isn't that what he kind of said? Like, It was in bad shape. Mm-hmm. And that happened. After I thought I was COVID free, then I got really sick again. I mean, sick. It was bad. I mean, I thought death was there, man. It was so bad. And so then I went back, got tested again for COVID negative. I'm like, what in the hell is this? And then I got a little bit better. And then boom, then the gallbladder, and then a couple weeks after the gallbladder, you're recovering, and then boom, and then acute pancreatitis again, then boom, and it's just been a nightmare. So I think a lot of that was brought on by the COVID. Mm-hmm. You're back.
Yeah.
You weren't having any problems with it. Yeah, you fell last winter, but you're not overweight. Mm. You are in pretty good shape. Like, boom, how all of a sudden this hit you right after COVID?
It was too many things pointing to it. Yeah. It affected somehow.
Yeah. So I think when you get COVID, you got to be careful of the other things. And a lot of people think that COVID kills people, and it really doesn't. It attacks other parts of your body. And that's why you hear so many people on the news, like the guy that they said that died in Texas, in Houston, was the first one to die from Omicron. And they said, oh, well, he died from other complications because that's, that's what it does. Kind of like AIDS. You don't die from AIDS.
Right.
It weakens your immune system, and then other stuff gets you. But when people are like, oh, I don't know anybody died from COVID.
Well, they say it's pre-existing conditions.
Yeah. And then like my little brother was like, well, people shouldn't be fat, and, they should exercise, and, well, they shouldn't have problems, and I used to be like that once. Mm-hmm. And he's a bright kid. I'm consider myself a bright guy, but back when I thought only women get depression, that was just stupid, and I just was not educated. Oh, I don't need a counselor. I don't need AA meetings. I don't need that.
Yeah, we did.
Again,
I
just was uneducated about how addiction worked. And I think the more that we can help people understand how addiction works, I think the better we'll be in the future. We got to think about this in the kids and your grandkids. I was watching a show called Attica. It was actually a documentary about a huge prison riot in New York back in old times. Like 50s, 60s, I don't know. It looked old. It was after Vietnam, so maybe late 70s. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I started thinking, like, wow. And there were some killers in there and rapists. And I'm thinking, man, we're locking people up who have a substance use disorder. It's a medical condition. Talk to a doctor. They'll tell you that. And we're locking them up with killers.
Yeah.
I get it. People can say, oh, yeah, well, they turned into thieves. And okay, they might. When I was first buying alcohol, I had money. When people first start using meth or heroin, they have money. It goes away, though. Mm-hmm. You start losing your things. That's how it works. But if we could catch it before it got to that part, but everybody's afraid. Well, I can't, tell my mom. I can't tell my family. I can't tell these people because they're going to think I'm a bad person. I'm a criminal. I'm a killer. You know, they make them just as bad. You put them in the same place. Why why the F do we do that? Does that make any effing sense to you? Am I missing something?
Oh, I mean, it's the whole thing about if you want to do, if issues come up due to substance use, what do they call it? Substance use related crimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It takes a minute to get there.
Well, first that needs to be identified that this is a problem in this person's life, and that needs to be addressed.
Right.
So keeping them locked up in a jail cell is not going to fix that. It's not going to have them get any sort of attention to the underlying problems.
No. And the fact that, okay, so my mom came at me, right? Oh, Corey, you got a drinking problem. I'm a bad person. No, I'm not. I'm not a bad person. I don't have a drinking problem. You know, I associate that with bad people. You know, in my younger years, you know, oh, so-and-so, he's an alcoholic. Stay away from him. Bad people. Well, I'm not a bad person. I pay my taxes. I had a job. I was going to work. I'm not a bad person. You know, like, why would I admit to having that problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a bad thing. Nobody wants to admit that. Yeah, okay, man, maybe I do need some help for this before it gets out of crazy control. Let me learn how to live with this and figure out what other things I can do besides drown myself in alcohol. Mm-hmm. Maybe I will hit a meeting. There's good people there. You know, like if we change the mindset of it all and to really explain what it really is. You know, there are great people at AA meetings, NA meetings. You know, not everybody's great. You know, there are some jerks, you know, some a-holes, whatever. You get those everywhere. Work, school, your family, everywhere. So why don't we start telling people how good it feels to go to these places? And maybe people do. I don't know. But just it seemed to me, you can bring it back down to my childhood of hearing about alcoholics, how bad they were. And then people coming at me saying I was an alcoholic. Then starting to go through withdrawals at 3:00 in the afternoon while I'm still at work. And then at noon, it turned into like at noon, I'd start the shakes, knowing that there's a problem, but I can't say anything because I don't want to be a bad person. Right.
There's one piece of it that I can point out, and this is just, I'm making a reference to like my own life. So myself as a child, my dad was an active alcoholic for the majority of my life that I've lived. And I remember there were times when my friends weren't allowed to come over to my house because my dad was an alcoholic. Now, is my dad a bad person? No. But in all fairness, I guess, I think there's parents that can look at that like, okay, an alcoholic can be, not all the time, but has proven to be, perhaps in certain situations or whenever, unknown times that they don't know because they're not there, you know, unsafe or unreliable or an unhealthy environment, you know. And so in all fairness, would that be understandable that those parents were hesitant on letting their children come over to spend the night at my house? Now, my dad's not creepy. It's not like he's like was going to harm anybody. But yeah, he would drink in excess to the point where he was not in any sort of parental or safe overseer.
Well, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because if you take it back, build that time machine to your dad, if he grew up with, hey, you can get help. He did eventually get help. He has 14 years sobriety now? 15, 14, something like that. Mm-hmm. So he eventually did, but if he grew up thinking that the first sign of, oh my God, I'm shaking, or the first sign of something's going wrong here, he could have reached out for help, then he probably would have gotten it. It would have been a lot easier for him too. It still could take a while for it to kick in and to smooth itself, but just to know that, hey, it's okay. It's okay to go to AA meetings. It's okay to have a therapist. It's okay to talk out these problems instead of drinking them. If they would have had that mentality then, this is why I think we need to start doing it now. Again, Do you want the kids going over there? No, probably not. I wouldn't want kids hanging out with me. He probably wouldn't even want them over there. But they don't have to say that your dad was a bad person.
No, I never said they did say that.
You don't know what they said.
No, I don't.
They just know they can't come over there because your dad's an alcoholic. So that sounds pretty bad to me.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is, despite the circumstance, like you're saying, change it ahead of time and take the stigma away, and more people will look for help or look to seek help because it's not so intimidating as it used to be. Mm-hmm. Right. And yeah, that's absolutely, I'm sure, would be true. I'm just saying circumstances being what they were, sadly, I can err on the side of saying I kind of get it for that particular circumstance.
Yeah, and when people
I wouldn't want my child going over to spend the night at another person's house where I knew that there was no parental supervision that was meaningful enough to keep my kids safe.
Well, yeah, and that goes for even if Dick and Sally, they drink maybe 3 times a year. You know, they're not real big drinkers, but the night that, I'm not even going to say your child, the night that your cousin, your brother, the night that your niece,
what?
The night that your brother and sister-in-law let them go over to the house, Dick and Sally decided it was their birthday and they were going to party and they get super drunk. Now, you didn't see that coming because they only drink a few times a year. Just so happened to be celebration time. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. And that's with anybody, really. So don't ever let your kids leave the house.
That's what we've got. Thank you for listening to the podcast.
Yep, thank you. Have a good day. No, but I'm just saying, like, you don't really know what other people are going to do. Maybe take an interest. And I'm sure we don't have kids, unfortunately, but we will. We're working on it. Did this morning. But, I mean, just saying hi to your dad is all I'm doing. But if or when we have my son, your son, our son, then we're going to have a vested interest in getting to know these other parents. And if Dick and Sally have a kid, Rashawn, he's up in the same grade in the class and their friends and on the ball team. And I get to know Dick and you get to know, or you don't get to know Dick. You know Sally. I know Dick. Or, let's just start this over with maybe different names.
I think they get what we're talking about. So
Richard.
Go ahead.
So Richard and
we're familiar with the parents.
Richard and I hanging out now.
We're familiar with the parents, is what you're saying.
And if we see some signs, obviously we're going to have 217 recovery plastered everywhere. And hopefully that by then, and people do reach out to us, they really do. And the younger generation had a kid, he's not a kid, he's like 25, 26 maybe, reach out and he just got OWI. Good for you, buddy. And he said, he's got probation now for a year. And I was like, what it took for me, man, consequences. Yeah. And he's just like, he went to his first in-person AA meeting. He loved it. And he just said it's only been like a week or so sober, but like he can already see the difference now that he has that. So it's cool to see the younger people reaching out is what I'm trying to say there. And hopefully, they are listening and they can kind of put the stuff in motion too, to realize that, people who suffer with a substance use disorder, we're not bad people necessarily. We're not all good people either. But at the same time, let's just give people the benefit of the doubt and let's get them the help that they need. And locking them up, if you think they need to go somewhere, sure. You're like, okay, let's put them somewhere, but it doesn't need to be in the same place that you're putting killers.
Right.
It just doesn't need to be.
I agree with that.
And if you think that's the wise choice, then I don't know. Maybe I do need to move to Russia.
Well, the judicial system, it's like these people, it's not rehabilitative.
It's a joke, man.
It's punitive. It's just like bad shame on you for breaking. Yeah, no, I get it. They broke the law, right? Mm-hmm. So I get that part. But first and foremost, if we want this to never happen again, putting them behind bars for 8 months is not going to make them not do it again. You need to treat the disease. You need to treat the issue, the underlying cause, before slamming them in a jail cell with a bunch of other people.
All right, you create criminals. And I think that's kind of what the system is made for. Prison's business. I don't know anybody who works at a jail, but if you talk to them, they're like, no, my husband makes pretty good money. That supports us. Trust me, plenty of people they can go track down. Trust me. I'm just saying the people with substance use disorder don't need to be in there with those legitimate bad people, you know? And again, not everybody in recovery who has a substance, not all those people are good. I'm just saying, let's not make them criminals. Let's not give them access to it, because if I tell you every single day that you're a piece of beep, you know, and this goes back to even domestic violence, you know, like if you tell somebody that they're that every single day, they're going to start to believe it. If I tell you you're a criminal every day, you're going to believe it. If I throw you away with the criminals, you're going to believe it. And then when you get out, guess what? You're a criminal. And, oh, you're going to feel it too. You know, our friend Tyrone, he's not a criminal. Sure. Has he broke the law? Okay, probably. We all do. I break the law every day when I drive sometimes, but I'm just kidding. I don't ever break the law. But especially when I drive, I don't. But should he have been locked up with criminals? No. And he said that jail in Charlevoix County just filled with people in there with substance use disorders. That's all.
Yeah.
And that place would probably go out of business. Okay, perfect. If your jail goes out of business because it doesn't have enough criminals, isn't that a good thing?
You would think so.
There's unemployment for those people. I mean, I would be jumping up and down. But, you know, there's people, cops and other people, they would be freaking the F out. I mean, trust me, there's other things that we can find for them to do. So don't act like, oh, no, we're going to have a prison closed. No, that would be a miracle. It really would. But set up, I don't know, a treatment, something. It's time for us to start thinking out of the box is pretty much what it is. And I'm sorry, Grandpa, but it's time. It's time. Even my mom, you know, it's time. And our parents, we can talk to and they get it. But it's time that we move things the way we want them to be. You know, we need to start electing officials that we support, not just talking trash, you know. And there's a man that I know, Chow is his nickname, Derek Chowden. He's got a crazy past. You know, some people are like, oh, he's a dirty piece of... No, Derek had a substance use disorder. He's been clean now for a while. I like the guy. I've met him, hung out with him a few times. He's been on the podcast quite a few times. And he even has his own podcast. He's running for office. I'm like, cool. Because I want people like that in office, you know, and we can really let them know how many people in recovery there are, especially in Michigan, by voting. You know, and one of the things they can take away from you is your right to vote. If you do this or do that, you know, if you get caught with cocaine and it's a felony, guess what? Boom. But there's enough of us in recovery where seriously, like if we wanted to and went out and just voted like all together, I think that would just be amazing. You know, like screw the Democrats, screw the Republicans. I've had enough. I don't even want to try to, I don't know. Do you want a doo-doo sandwich or you want a turd sandwich? Neither. Can we just make a nice meal that everybody can enjoy? That's kind of like my philosophy on it. That's all I want. So give me some property. It could be an island. I don't even care. We'll run it. We'll just run around naked sometimes. We'll do whatever we want. We won't have a jail. It'll be called Winfield Land.
Wow.
And there'll be free ice cream on Sundays.
On Sunday.
Just because it's Sunday.
Just because you got to make it realistic. Yeah.
I like it. Sounds good.
It does sound good. Let's draw it up.
Thanks. I will.
Vision board.
If you know anybody who has an island that they want to donate, or you could just donate $1 million. I don't know. I'm still waiting. So now we have an island or $1 million donation. You could, for your birthday, start a Facebook donation thing for us. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. I appreciate the people that have. Touches my heart.
I know.
Makes me feel good. I mean, hell, you don't have to be your birthday. You can just start one right now. Like for Corey's Island. I'm just saying. In Facebook, they don't like take anything from it either. That's why I like it. They can go to our website, you can go to our app, donate to us. And that's cool too. Appreciate it. You can mail us a check. Just hit me up on Facebook. I'll tell you where to send it. But if you go through Facebook, they don't take none of it. So send that $1 million.
Nice.
I'm going to create a fake Facebook account, catfishing people. It'll be like some hot chick. I'll be like, my friend Corey and Marnie are trying to raise $1 million. I bet you I would get at least 2,000.
Okay,
Should
so
I
now
do it?
everyone keep an eye out for a crazy hot chick. Well, not crazy. You can't make her crazy if you expect to get money. No, he's just kidding.
I'm not kidding. I'm like writing it down like when.
That's terrible.
Or what? What for what? It's terrible. How is it terrible? Well, yeah, we help people in recovery with that money.
Yeah, I know we do, but that's dishonesty.
What? No.
Catfishing people is dishonest.
But it's not.
It's dishonest.
It's
That's
a bet.
Hey, you don't have to live like that anymore, Corey. It's okay.
Well, but I mean, but I'm just saying, is more of a bet than anything. So I can't do it?
No, absolutely not.
All right. I was going to say by March, though, I could probably get $2,000. Maybe even, it depends. I don't know. People do like crap to me all the time. That's why like I had to look through, and if it has any kind of foreign stuff in the name, nope. Can't do it. And then they were like, hey, have you heard about this and that? No, gone. I just leave people with the quickness. I don't even really get on Facebook all that much, though.
I don't really much either.
I know, because at one time and you were like, who's this girl? Because
didn't.
Because I had saved her picture on the desktop. Because you can Google search the image and find out where it's really from. And I had done that with a couple people. I was like, hey, this person's using your picture, just FYI. Just, teach them a lesson. Do some catfish justice.
Right.
That's what the police need to be doing.
You think so? That's what they need to be doing?
I don't know.
No.
Walking people at school or something. I don't know. Just saying. But that's my 2 cents for today.
Yeah. That's a whole lot.
I know. I was going to get into holiday traditions, but maybe we can do that on Thursday, a little closer.
That sounds good.
To Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about? Or are you just here to keep me on this?
No, it was good. You were kind of all over the place, but that's what we do sometimes.
I was on one today.
That's okay. I'm kind of tired.
All right. That's why I took over.
Yeah. I appreciate that. You could just feel the lack of energy that I had in me. It's not because I'm not excited about recovery. It's just because I'm just overall just tired.
I just had a lot to think about today.
No, I know. It's great.
It was all just came out. So. So I do. This is my AA meeting for the day.
That's good. It was a good meeting. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, if you would like to chime in. And if you want to set up that catfish account for me, I don't think that's a problem with me. To raise donations for 217 recovery. Just trying to, because we just missed out on this grant. We just found out about it. Well, we'll get into that later too.
Yeah.
And you can't cry over spilt milk.
That's right.
Oh, 2022 is going to be so amazing for us. I can feel it. God's like setting it up.
I hope so.
Things happen for a reason. Tell yourself that over and over, and believe it, and you'll see. And you'll why you're so mad about something today, and then in 2 weeks you'll be like, "Wow, I'm glad that didn't happen the way I wanted it to, because then this wouldn't happen." It all sets up perfectly, and especially if you're sober. If you're doing the right things. And, tell God thanks from time to time.
I say it all the time.
Because he really does look out. There's no way I can explain any of this. I didn't do it. It's amazing. But that's for another podcast as well. Thanks for listening. 217recovery.com. We do have resources on there. If you haven't seen our video and what we did for Black Friday, go watch it. We'll be dropping another video tomorrow.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good tease. So look for that on Facebook and our YouTube channel. But have a good one, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.
Night, everybody.